Yeah, that picture, Keith, is up in Spruce Pine.
Yeah, it looks rough up there.
Looks like a place that I might need to have a place one of these days.
I never thought when I took that picture what I'd use it for.
Here we are. I think we're live on the Impact Group. So I'm just going to get rolling, and I'm sure people will kind of hop in as we go. They're growing quick. So we've done this in the past. We did it in the EXP world for most of last year. The huddle is basically just a quick overview of what's going on in EXP, what's new, what's coming down the pipe. Also what is new in the Impact Group, and then also some things that we can put out there, some resources to help everybody build their business, and also help others build their business. So sometimes, you know, we have all the resources, we know where we're going, we know who to talk to and where to go, but some of the people in our organizations and our group might not know these things yet. There's so many different resources at EXP that I try to add some things in here so you guys can kind of spread the word and make sure we all know where we're going. So I'm going to start with a little bit of housekeeping. Put on your calendars. I'm going to do this huddle on Zoom like we are now, but it's also playing live in the Impact Group. So, and we'll record all of these and they'll be on a YouTube channel. So it'll almost be like what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it'll be recorded. You could be listening to the whole game
Library.
in a row. What's that?
Library.
Yeah, like a library. Yeah, like a playlist. So if you wanted to listen to them in the car and you know, at a later date, you can do that and kind of get a gist of what's going on and get some resources. So every week, every Friday, 10 a.m. We also have been doing Rev Up Your Rev Share. You can see that down in the lower left-hand corner. That's about helping others through your relationships and building an ownership group through revenue share. So we've been doing that at Thursdays at 9:30. That is also on YouTube, and I'm sharing the library for that, the playlist on Impact as well. So you'll see all of these things popping up if you want to go back and watch the past episodes. I think we've done 5 of those so far. They're a quick 30-minute burst of some great nuggets with Shelly and John Padone. Some great information there. So make sure you check that out as well. Meg and Shelly, Meg Watson, Shelly Johnson, my business partner, do EXP Explained the first and third Tuesday of each month at 5 p.m. And that will be an Impact as well. There will be a Zoom link for that. And you can just log on there and bring a guest if you choose to. Your guests can be anonymous if you want, if they want to be anonymous, if they want a one-on-one, more of a one-on-one appointment about EXP Explained because they have a unique situation or just feel more comfortable that way. You could reach out to myself or to Shelly or several other people that will be willing to help you on that level as well. So make sure you check that out, mark that on your calendars, look for that in the Impact Group. And then I always put this in here, the EXP calendar for all of the different training that is in EXP world. As we know, there's now 75 to 100 hours a week of live training taught by top coaches, top influencers, icon agents all over the country and now all over the world. So you can go through that live calendar, and that is at expcloud.com. You could also reach that on your enterprise dashboard. That's a really easy place to grab it. If you look there on the EXP Cloud little tile that I put, you'll see on the right side too, those are all the states and countries and their particular meetings that they have as well. So they have for new agents and new states and different things like that. They also have the meetings for the state itself. So make sure you check those out. You can actually click right on the live calendar in EXP Cloud, and it gives you a description. It tells you where it is. and you could even add it to your Google Calendar because it's Google friendly. So make sure you use that resource. It's a great resource. Moving right along. If you guys have any questions, just kind of butt in. And if you're watching on the Impact Group, just pop in a question in the comments and I'll work on getting to them later. Moving right along, as far as the different groups we have, as you guys, most of you guys know, we have the private groups in Facebook. We have one called Impact Group Worldwide. That is the one that we've had for the longest. We kind of changed it to worldwide because the organization is growing so large, around the world, the UK, India, Canada, Australia. I'm sure there's a lot of other people. And then all over, we're almost in 50 states now. So it's more of a worldwide group. And so we're going to try and change the format of that group a little bit and make it more about, what's that?
Quick question for you. How many are in Impact Group now?
1,400.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw the AJ getting to 3,000, so I figured that the number's probably climbing.
Yeah, I mean, this particular Facebook group has 1,400. Our organization has 2,125. The last time I looked.
Well done.
Yeah, so that's exciting. On that note, if you have people in your organization or that that want help and want to be in the know, make sure they join this group. Invite them to this group. It's private, so they really can't find it. You have to be invited. And that's probably why all 2,100 or AJ's even 3,000 are not in there, because they don't necessarily know where to find it. So it's a lot of word of mouth. But back to the format for that particular group, we want to kind of change it to Impact and EXP announcements. Things like the huddle will be in there. The EXP Explained will be in there. There'll be some training and coaching type of, learning type of things. Rev up your rev share, any webinars or interviews and things like that will be housed in that Impact Worldwide. And what we're trying to do is move the day-to-day kind of real estate related stuff over to the Impact Real Estate Collaboration Group, which you see there on the right. So you can ask real estate questions, discuss topics. For instance, there was a lot of talk this week about Zillow and showing time. So if you wanted to start a discussion and get some thoughts from different people, that would be where you would want to do that in the collaboration group. Agent to agent referrals, marketing agent services. So if you do closing coordinating or you build websites or things like that, it's also going to be in the real estate collaboration group. There's no reason to put listings in there because our group is growing so big. And there's people from all over the country and the world. So if we put, a listing from Maryland in there, it doesn't really do much good. It just kind of clogs up the feed. Or a listing from, Texas, or a listing from Charlotte, so let's not put listings in there. Let's just give recommendations. We can welcome agents and so forth. So that's the collaboration group. If you're not part of that collaboration group, look for it. Impact Group Real Estate Collaboration EXP. Mark your calendars. Coming up on May 17th to the 21st is the Shareholders Summit for EXP. It's going to be in EXP world again because of COVID, unfortunately. But it is pretty cool to have it in there. There's a last time when we had EXP Con, which was the other conference that we had a couple months back. It was kind of a record, I believe, for an online conference with, I think there were 7,000 people over the course of the 3 days that were in that conference. So make sure you mark your calendars. Monday through Thursday, it's the 17th to the 20th. If you go into EXP announcements, you'll see that information. Whoops. For the Shareholders Summit coming up. Shareholders is more geared towards the stock and the company. For those of you who do not know, EXP World Holdings is the parent company that owns EXP Realty. They also own Showcase IDX. They also own Verbella, and they just purchased Success Magazine, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. So they are more of a conglomerate in that all of those companies feed the stock. The ticker symbol is EXPI, if you were to look it up. So this is a little more geared towards the stock and the state of the company, but there are a lot of real estate kind of breakout sessions and so forth within it as well. So make sure you attend that. Some resources as far as, you know, bettering your business. I always like to kind of, a lot of people ask this question. So I'm going to jump into a screen share real quick and hopefully I can grab it. Okay. So this is regular Facebook, which we don't necessarily want. So if you were to go into your EXP Enterprise, log in, and then scroll to the bottom. I'll use my mouse here. If you scroll to the bottom, you can hit Workplace. You'll go right to Workplace. There's several ways to get there, but so if we click on that, we go to Workplace. You guys should be in Workplace daily. I mean, there is gold in here. So for those of you who have not been in Workplace, Workplace is a business platform created by Facebook, and it basically houses our entire company within this. It's more like an intranet, which you would find in a corporate environment. It's a business platform. It's part of your tech dues, and there's over 1,600 different groups in here that you can get amazing resources and information from. But what I'm going to go into more is if you start to type in university and you click on EXP University, I'm going to go to this one. You go to EXP University and then you click on EXP University here. There's some awesome content here. So you scroll down and you're going to see all the different series that they have. So there's the Fast Start series for newer agents. There's 14 classes in Fast Start. You should definitely take at least the first 4 or 5. It goes over everything that's available for EXP, kind of gets you started, everything that you need to know and where everything is. And then as you get further into the series, it talks about building your business and being successful in your business. There's also the Icon series. Icon series is taught by Icon agents. So these are the top agents in the company that are sharing their tips and tricks and success. You have the Excel series, and you have the Mentor series, and then it goes into, you know, if you can watch the breakouts at the Shareholders Summit, the EXP Con, and then it goes into things like KV Core, Make It Rain, Sky Slope. So these are all things that people are constantly looking for. And if you click on any of these, so say we click on the Icon series, it brings you into the catalog. And now you see all of the different actual classes that were taught. And you can watch any of these and go back and watch endless amounts of incredible information. So once again, just go into Workplace, go in, type in university, go to EXP University, click on the university icon right at the top. It'll bring you right into the catalog, and then just pick which particular series you want to watch. If you want to watch things about technology or actual tech tools, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see that. So I hope that was helpful. That is a little tricky to find, but if you know where to find it, there's some gold in there. So pass the word on to people in your organization that could use that.
Thanks, Craig.
So this is something that's really exciting that's coming up. and they actually just posted it this morning. They've been talking about it for a couple weeks now. And it is a new dashboard that is going to be available to us as agents, and it's going to be called My EXP. And it is going to allow you to do a ton of things. You know, right now we're kind of bottlenecked with, you know, communication, you know, from the people in our organization. We're always trying to help people in our organization reach down, reach up, communicate with people that have skill sets that we may not, and it's really challenging. But this new dashboard is really going to help. The biggest thing that it's going to have is the organization charts. You'll have an org chart right in your dashboard that shows everybody in your organization how many people they have in their organization, how many people they have in their front line. It'll have the agent's contact information, including email, cell phones, addresses, their location as far as what state they're in or what country they're in, how many level ones they have, the size of their organization. All of your stock will be in one place. If you have part of your organization in a foreign country, you're going to be able to see your international revenue share in that dashboard as well. And then you can create, I believe you're going to be able to create groups for communication. So you can create, you know, a Texas group, a Maryland group. And if you wanted to kind of email to them or communicate to just that group, you can do that. So it's going to have some CRM abilities as well, I believe. Tracking information, different reports will be in there. So it'll be a really, really handy tool for us to communicate and just really collaborate together. I mean, that I say it all the time. It was one of the most surprising things coming to a cloud-based company. You would feel like you're going to be on an island, but it's the complete opposite. Cody, I think your mic's on. But that the ability to collaborate across, you know, state lines and around the world now through the different platforms that EXP offers is awesome, like Workplace and EXP World, and Workplace Chat. But this is going to take it to a whole new level. So we're pretty excited about that. It's due to come out in March. They're hoping for the first week of March, but you know how things go. It's going to be in a beta platform. So, you know, with that being said, there's definitely going to be some hiccups in it. So be careful with, be patient, and it'll get better and better and better. And it's going to be an amazing tool. So what's up at Exp Realty? So, I mean, it's been a while since we've been on here. We've done massive global expansion. So Michael Valdez has come to the company, came to the company last year. He came from Realogy. Realogy is a really big company. They own Highgarden, Century 21, not Berkshire Hathaway, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's. They own a number of things. It's basically a conglomerate company like EXP World Holdings. They own all of these other real estate entities. That's where Michael's from. He's opened up probably hundreds of countries for that company over the years. And now he's with EXP because he sees the massive vision and opportunity that this company offers. And that is why so many countries have opened so fast, because he is the guy in the industry that knows how to do this. He's got all the connections. He has the know-how and knows how to build the infrastructure to make this happen. So since we've been on, I think we finished up in the end of November on the huddle. There's been 12 new countries opened. There's actually, I think there's about 9, and there's another 3 that are going to open by the end of the first quarter. I believe Brazil is the next one. Puerto Rico just opened. But it's crazy at the speed that they're able to open these countries. And part of that, or most of that speed, is because we're a cloud-based company. We don't have to act like a traditional a traditional company that has to go in and find people that will invest, $250,000 to open up a franchise, and then take on a huge lease with a giant building, and then find 10 producers to keep that building, afloat with production. None of that has to happen in this company. We basically need someone with legal knowledge on the ground in that country that knows the infrastructure of real estate business in that company, in that country, a producer and an influencer, or a combination. Someone has multiple things that they can offer, and that's why it opens so fast and starts to grow so fast. So if you guys go ahead.
And to your earlier point about workplace, as you and I connected on before, right after this, and it was a really good way of keeping up with it, I'm going to be going to a meeting that they have for introduction for India, that orients you to what they're doing beyond the 1.5 hour video that they have out. So it connects it all pretty well together.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great point, John. That's a great place to find that information. If you have questions about any particular country, the first place to go would be workplace, and just type in India, type in Puerto Rico, type in France, Portugal, all these different places that we're in, and you'll see a community there and people answering questions. There's a broker of record, kind of a leader in each one of these countries, and they're active on workplace, and they'll answer your questions. And as they get more and more organized, they are offering, EXP explained India, EXP explained, Puerto Rico, and they're offering, they're answering questions very quickly. If you have any questions about potentially knowing an influencer or opening a country, you can go to that address at the top there. There's no www, it's just expglobal.partners. And you'll see some different things that you can click on there and reach out to Michael and his team, and they should reach back out to you. So the stock, a lot of people, I'm just trying to hit on a bunch of things that people have been asking about the stock split. So the stock split, people ask, what does that mean? Why would they do that? So there's a couple of different reasons, and I'm not a stock expert by any means, but the stock was upwards, I would think, of $180 a share at one point. And so that there's a couple of things. For some people, that makes it a little bit unaffordable. They think, oh, well, I could buy 1 share or 2 shares. So that might be why they would split it in half. Also, but the main reason I believe they split the stock is because our model for our company allows for stock awards and equity awards for doing the business that you're already doing. And as the company grows and they award more of these shares, they start to dilute in number. They don't dilute in value, of course, but it just gives the company more shares to play with. You're basically, when they split it, if it was worth $100 for 1 share, they basically split it. Now it's worth 50 a share, but they give you 2 shares. So there's no massive advantage for a split, other than maybe some momentum that the company would get. So you saw a lot of momentum leading up to the split, and now a split happened. So it's kind of just a little bit chill right now. But it's more about the amount of shares for the future as well. Any questions on that or input?
I would just say that probably the easiest way to think about it is asking for change to break 100 and getting either 250s if you need two, or if it's a 5-for-1, getting 520s. And you can kind of think about it from the use point perspective. Let's say you have 2 kids or 5 kids. Well, you can't give them all the 100 because they'll fight over it, but you can break it into 520s and give it to them. So from a use perspective, it becomes more useful, more utility to it, and it's more of a psychological thing in terms of any potential value creation. If you look at Tesla post their 5-to-1 split, they gained a tremendous amount of value, but that's because they're already a strong momentum stock that has a really strong mindset of investors behind it. So that affordability factor, being 520s instead of 100, played to Tesla's advantage and can potentially help from a mindset perspective.
Yeah. And two things that I know of. One, some major investment groups are starting to notice EXP. And there was a recorded purchase by Vanguard Group, I believe. I think it was 4 million shares that they bought last quarter. So that's a pretty good percentage. I forgot what the percentage was, but I mean, as those things get gobbled up, that's another reason why they would split, so they have more. It just gives you more shares, but same ultimate value. Another thing Glenn said in his workplace interview, if you watch that, was, for instance, there's a stock award every year when you do your first transaction, you get $200 worth of EXP stock. So if the stock was worth, $200 a share, it's like, you're getting a share. That's not too exciting. But if you were getting 2 shares, or, if you capped and you got $400 worth of shares, and you got 4 or 5 shares, it just kind of gives you a little bit more, rather than just getting one and a fraction of a share. So that's another reason why they do it. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but a lot of people are talking about the Zillow purchase of Showing Time, and the bottom line. I don't know who's. Let's see, mute that person. The bottom line is Zillow purchased it for the data, and they want access. So Zillow is a platform for listings, basically. So they need access to those listings. And in years past, as realtors and realtor associations and MLSs started to recognize that Zillow was trying to automate our industry and almost cut the realtor out in many ways, they started to cut Zillow out of the mix. So many MLSs voted to not give their data to Zillow anymore. Many mid-sized boutique companies who had, say 1,000 or a couple thousand agents decided to cut them off as well. So they were losing access to that data. So they had to find other ways to get the data. So what they started doing is going around and getting it through third parties. So if our MLS or our company gave our data to a platform over here, that platform would then cut a deal with Zillow to funnel the information and the data through. And that's how they were getting it. And that's still happening, but it's getting more and more difficult. A lot of people don't know that Zillow does not have every listing on it. It has a lot of them. In some cases, depending on the area, most of them. But it doesn't have all of them because they have a very, very hard time of getting access. You noticed in several areas around the country, they also announced that they are now a brokerage. Well, when they're a brokerage, they automatically get access. So that's another way they started to get access. They don't care about selling houses and becoming a brokerage, from a realtor standpoint. They're just basically using that as a vehicle to get data. And that's the same reason they bought Showing Time. It really has very little to do with the actual showing platform. The actual showing platform has very little value, and anybody can create a showing platform. That's not why they bought it. They bought it because Zillow owns, Showing Time owns a ton of data because they have access to all the MLSs and they have access to all of our information as far as agents, what their production is, where they've done that production, and direct line to all these MLSs. Showing Time is not in every area, but it's in the majority of them in the US. So it was another play to get more data. And that's why they're dominating, because they have so much money and they can just acquire and get more data. How does this tie into EXP? Well, EXP is the only large company, real estate company, that has direct access to MLS data. And what I mean by that is we are a corporation, EXP World Holdings, Exp Realty. And when EXP goes into a territory, the company, Exp Realty, buys the rights to the MLS. In a traditional franchise model, the franchise owner is responsible for buying that. So therefore, they don't have above, like the corporation doesn't have access to that data, just the franchise does. So it's very segmented. So because EXP has all of these direct access lines to all of these MLSs, that ultimately would allow them to build a competitor to Zillow. And that is probably what's ultimately going to happen. And that is why they primarily bought Showcase IDX, is so that they could have in-house programmers to take that data and build it into something. So that's pretty exciting. And I think because Exp World Holdings is the conglomerate, this Zillow competitor, if it ever comes out, which I believe it will be part of the Exp World Holdings entity and will drive our stock even higher, hopefully. So that's a little insight on that. It's not really about the showing technology. It's more about the data. Hope that was helpful. Last thing, I know we're coming up on a half hour. We're just trying to make these half hours so they're not really drawn out.
So Craig,
yes.
When you talk about Zillow and the fact that they're basically data mining, and that's why they bought that, do you have any suggestions, or have anybody talked about how we will protect our clients' information, what maybe we don't want to put in our listings or include when we have a listing or a buyer, so that way Zillow doesn't necessarily have the ability to obtain the information we work so hard for?
It's a really hard thing, Kevin. It's a great question, because the consumer is searching on Zillow because they have the most money, they have the most ranking, they put the most information into their platform, therefore they rank the highest. They probably spend billions on Google ads, so they rank high, and they basically just take every bit of public data and they post it, and that gives their platform search engine optimization as well. So it's very hard to say, like, let's not put our stuff on Zillow, because that's where the consumer's looking. So, that it's a double-edged sword. But what I would say, if you want to fight the monster, so to speak, and this is just my opinion, is don't give your money to Zillow. Don't pay for Zillow leads. Don't give them your money, because you're basically paying them to put you out of business. That's my opinion.
Well, I wasn't specifically talking about our, removing our listings or not putting our listings there, but the specific information, phone numbers, email addresses, anything like that Showing Time acquires from us to be able to communicate with our sellers and so forth. The question is, how much of that, obviously, if we're giving all those emails and phone numbers and everything else over to Showing Time, of course, now Zillow's got it. That's where my question was really heading.
I mean, I don't know if they utilize the homeowner's contact information. That's a good question. I don't know what the
I'm only
In
familiar
their-
with this, Greg, because 3 years ago, we had some big boys come over and all the home inspectors were using 3 big admin software companies. And those admin software companies were sold off to like Porch. And Porch came in and did this to us 3 years ago, and the home inspection industry went ballistic. And we said, okay, when's this going to happen to the realtor? So we've been sitting back watching it. Of course, we were smaller, so we were less expensive to buy that. When now the big boy came in and played the same game that Porch played with the home inspection industry, gobbling up all that information, which they did wonderfully. And now here we see, you know, Zillow jumping on that same situation.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we've lived it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I would second what Craig said about not feeding the monster with your money. What I would say to your question, Kevin, and again, it's a great question, as Craig said, is anything that you would not want to give to a competitor agent that has some advantage, like the way Zillow wants to automate and reduce the cost of transactions potentially and disintermediate you, don't provide that information in the listing.
Yeah.
Keep it to yourself and be the point of contact with your client. And quite frankly, that's part of your added value anyway, is to make sure that you curate how things come to your client.
Yeah, it's challenging because you want to serve your client to the utmost. But yeah, I would say the bottom line is information. I mean, it's out there. If it's out there, they're going to find it and they're going to get it. We can make it more difficult. But I think the main thing is to not feed the monster, and feeding the monster is giving them money. If you give them direct money, that's how they stay above water. That's how they pay for those ads. They basically get our data, and then they turn around and they market that data to us in the form of leads. So we're basically paying for our own leads. They take our information and sell it to us.
The money that any realtor pays them is their war chest, and they have a market cap of about 4.5 times the size of EXP right now, which could level out, and EXP could become the size or bigger if we do things right. But part of that comes, from us being smart enough not to fund their operation and their war chest. Because if we don't fund their war chest and their operation, guess what? They're going to have to spend that money funding their operation, which takes away from their war chest in order to be able to make big strategic moves.
Yeah, well put. Exactly.
Thanks.
So, yeah, great information. This is going to finish up real quick. Exp World Holdings also just purchased Success Magazines. So it's Success Enterprises. A lot of people, I mean, even myself, the first thought I had was like, why would they buy some print magazine? But looking into it more and seeing the entity and what it has, it's a really good, I think they got a great price for it too. It's been around for 124 years, which I did not know. Just about every important, successful, legendary person has been on the cover of Success Magazine over those 124 years. But there's a lot more to Success Magazine. And I believe Glenn and their group at Success has a lot of great ideas that they're going to kind of move it into the next level. And some of those things are, it's access. So access is a big part of business. So by having Success Magazine as one of the entities within EXP World Holdings, now all of those people and all of those people that know Success and that brand are now discovering EXP World Holdings and what it's about. And they're discovering other things like, recognition of EXP Realty, and also Verbella. So for instance, they're creating a world just like EXP World called Dream World. And Dream World is a Verbella community that is basically going to be for entrepreneurs and success-driven people. So they're going to have speakers come in there and talk about business and success and personal development and things like that. So that's going to really help the Verbella brand, and it'll make that virtual world, 3D augmented reality world, more of a normal thing to people. And the more norm that gets, the better that company is going to do. And then even from a real estate standpoint, the more people and realtors see that augmented reality world being used in other areas and other businesses, it won't seem so weird to them. So, I mean, that's kind of was the initial kind of kick by other companies. They were like, oh, it's a cartoon world. And, you know, they just don't understand what it's used for and how it's used. And I think with different platforms and different businesses using Verbella and, you know, using different funnels of access like Success Magazine and all of the people that are attached to that brand over the years and currently, I think it's just going to be a big help to the overall brand of our company. And once again, that is an entity owned by Exp World Holdings, which that feeds into our stock. So basically, we are all shareholders in this company, as well as Verbella, as well as Showcase IDX, and many more probably to come down the line. So they're building an empire, and we're part of it. So that's pretty exciting. So that's all I had. Just trying to keep them short and quick and keep everybody in the know. Spread the word, and let's do it again next week, Friday, 10 a.m. It'll be live on Zoom here again. I'll put the link in Impact Group Worldwide, and it's also live on Impact if you wanted to go back and listen to it again, or if you miss it 1 week. I appreciate you all coming, and see you next time.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Craig, for having me.
See you, Keith.
Hey, Craig,
Yes.
Keith,
Sir.
if you could stick around for 2 seconds,